Baszler.
Yeah,
Uh,
like what in the world is? How do you not have any creative direction for her?
we
It's
only have three
unbelievable.
women. We're gonna try and somewhat show you three other women who are all floundering. We're gonna try and start pushing Natty again, but Shayna Baszler is not even gonna get any TV time. I had no idea what's going on, none at all. Uh, but that being the case, I'd like to see her with WWE because this roster needs her. I'd like to see her with WWE because I like seeing her. Unfortunately, I feel like she's been such a minor sidekick kind of role for a long time. I mean, the only time she really hasn't been with the main roster is when she was tag teaming with as the Kabuki Warriors, and that still was somewhat minor role. Um, Honestly, I like if she was with WWE, I'd like to see her with NXT, but that's not going to happen because of a lot of different reasons. With everything being considered, I guess I don't know if I'd like to see her with the AEW either. To be honest, though, I feel like they don't. The women's division on AEW isn't really like suited to her style of fighting. I don't know how she would fit in, and maybe she would improve it, or maybe she would work well with a lot of the people there. But I don't know. My assumption right now is just that she'd be kind of she would take a step back if she went in that direction. Uh,
I feel like AEW's women's division has been treated a lot better in the last couple months, but there's still a lot of things going on with that division that feels like could be handled a lot better.
it's definitely improving too. And it's kind of funny with Britt Baker having her injury. She's become more liked by me, not because she's not wrestling, but because she's developing her character so much better. Uh,
I heard some comparisons to her character being very much like Chris Jericho in the '90s, whenever he was an obnoxious heel, um, and there's a lot of people who are going to hear that and just be like, Chris Jericho is one of the best of all time. Britt Baker's barely starting out. Dude, go back and watch some of Chris Jericho stuff in WCW and watch some of Britt Baker stuff now. That comedy is so similar. It's there's definitely some inspiration from that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jericho is helping out with like the with some of like the writing portion of that or something like that, or at least consulting with it. I mean, I think everybody's really has that, but like if you watch it, like I can completely understand the why people would think like, oh, that's very Jericho esque because
yeah,
it's so ridiculously silly, but those two are somehow able to pull it off.
there's a fine line between being just so over the top that it's annoying, not annoying as in like the annoying that you're supposed to be, but annoying as in I want you off my TV. There's a fine
Yes,
line between that kind of annoying and then on the other side being funny because it's over the top enough. And I think she's on the right side of the line right now. And it's the more that she does her character, the more the better she's doing with it. And it's not being played out too much either. It's not being put too prominently in a role either. It's just she's always kind of lurking there in the crowd because the crowd is empty right now. And she's in her Pope Mobile kind of thing with her driver. It's just a funny sort of wacky, and it's on the right side of being a heel too. So they're doing a good job with that, and the women's division in general is doing a good job of building themselves up. I feel like it's going to be good in a little bit, but right now, I feel like it's not up to Kairi Sane's standards, and I don't mean that to talk too highly of her, but I feel like she is at a good professional role, like uh, as far as in-ring work at the top of the class of WWE. See, if she went back to Japan, and I'd be happy for her. I'm sure she'd fit in well and be, like back from America, kind of push that she would get there. But unfortunately, I probably wouldn't get to see her at all. Like I said earlier today, I can only fit so much wrestling into my week,
yeah,
and
I
I
feel
don't
you.
know if I feel like adding in as much as I like Japan and Japanese wrestling. I don't know if I'm ready to try and fit that in yet. And I had at one point tried to watch New Japan, at least with its release on American TV, the Freeform network or whatever.
Right.
And I couldn't fit it in. I do watch their pay-per-views from time to time. Um, but yeah, there's only so much wrestling I can get. So to actually answer your question instead of just going over the options, I guess for her sake, I'd like it if she went back to Japan and lived her life. I mean, she's going to make the choice that she wants, and I'd like her to make the choice that she wants, not for my own sake, but for her sake. And that might change if like she was being utilized better in WWE. I might, selfishly say, hey, take that $5 million and stay with WWE. Or I don't know how much they get paid. I'm just gonna assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, with how she's being utilized, it's almost sometimes painful to watch my favorite stars that I've got to see the best of sit there and not do a whole lot in WWE.
Yeah, I feel that. If I had it my way, I would love to see her back in NXT just because everyone does better in NXT. I mean, that's just kind of a given at this point. But if she's really going back to Japan, I would love to see her stay until SummerSlam. Even though SummerSlam is not going to be in front of a crowd, it's not going to be at Boston anymore. It'll still be in the Performance Center. Have her work an awesome match against Asuka as kind of like a going away party, and that would be awesome. I would love to see that. Doesn't mean you have to split up the team necessarily, but you could do something to where, Kairi Sane is the number one contender, and the two best friends are going to be fighting each other for the title.
You've just convinced me that is the best idea. They should make it an eye for an eye match.
Oh my god.
So that she can go back to Japan in an eye patch.
Well, she is the pirate princess.
A festival of friends. That's a good idea, Buster.
All right, so gosh, man, the eye for I can't get over the eye for an eye thing. I really can't. I can't wait to see this match.
Yes, and it should be one of a kind. We shouldn't have another eye for an eye match at SummerSlam.
No, we shouldn't. All right, so those are our yeah, I was gonna say those are our main topics. Was there anything? It was kind of a slow week for wrestling, to be honest with you. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on. We did see Heath Slater on Raw, but it sounds like he's gonna be gone again.
He had to feed his kids, so he got the one-time contract there. But he sounded like he's happy about it.
But good for him to get one last final moment from what sounded like he cut a really good promo. You never know. Maybe Vince will back up the Brinks truck to his house, to his trailer. To his trailer. That's right.
Double wide.
Maybe he'll do that, and Heath will get his job back. But from what it sounds like, he's headed for Impact Wrestling, so good for him. Whatever makes him happy. I like Heath Slater. He did an interview with Chris Van Vliet recently that was really nice.
He does seem like one of those authentically cool dudes.
All right, so tonight, the Wednesday Night War, we've got Night 2 of the Great American Bash on NXT. The main event of that is going to be Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. It's going to be the North American title against the NXT World Heavyweight title, winner take all. I can't remember what else is on the card. I'm going to look on my phone, but
I got it for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae.
Ooh.
We got a 6-man tag match. Breezango and Dallas Maverick. Dallas Maverick, no.
What? Drake Maverick?
Dallas Mavericks. Yes, sorry.
Wait, it's Drake Maverick against who again? I'm sorry.
Drake Maverick and Breezango versus Legado del Fantasma.
Oh, okay.
Of the Phantasms.
Yeah, the fallout from last week.
Yes, and Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Johnny Gargano. So about Cole versus Lee. First of all, super excited for that match. Well, I'll pick things later, but as far as that match goes, it's kind of weird. I mean, I know they're not advertising it. They're not uniting the championships, but it's kind of weird for the company to have two championships and to put them on one person. I'm assuming if Cole wins, of course, he's probably going to lord over both of them until he drops them. If Lee wins, he's probably going to vacate the uh, the smaller title, give it to
I
Vacant,
yeah, I
and we'll
guess
have a debate for Vacant.
I'm not sure what would happen with that. I'm kind of curious too.
Well, yeah, we'll get. Well, this isn't a pay-per-view, so we're not going to have Fallout. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna wait a week to find out.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, so I mean, just that match on paper. If Mia Yim versus Candice is actually a street fight, if that's a street fight, that's gonna be really good. Then
That should be good. Yes.
those two matches are probably worth the show tonight. Much like AEW's got, in my opinion, two matches that are worth watching tonight too. And I kind of wanted to say like, so the main event of tonight's card is going to be for AEW Fighter Fest Night 2 is Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. And I was talking to Matt about this before the show. AEW, Tony Khan, Jericho, Orange Cassidy, for as much as he promotes things, which is not as much. But I will be honest with you, they have been promoting this match like crazy on social media. I'm expecting something really, really good. And I can't wait. That should honestly be a terrific match. And then the other match I'm looking forward to as well is FTR and the Young Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers. Those are 8 great workers. I mean, that's going to be a great match. I mean, what else can you say?
They also got tonight Private Party versus Paige and Omega. I don't know if that's a title match or not.
I believe that is for the tag team titles, yes.
Okay. We also got Lance Archer versus Joey Janela, and Social Uncensored. Is that what they're called?
SoCal Uncensored.
Okay.
SCU.
So yes, I never knew what the U stood for SCU. Now it makes sense.
SoCal,
I wrote it down wrong on my computer. Versus the Dark Order. Sorry. Yes. So for me, it's Orange Cassidy versus Jericho, or Cole versus Lee. And Orange Cassidy is my man. I honestly think Cole versus Lee is going to be the better match. I don't know if I want to watch it more, but it's probably going to be the better match.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same boat too.
I think I need to support Orange Cassidy versus Jericho though, because Orange Cassidy is my guy that's currently wrestling, because Damian Sandow is not. So if I had to pick a show, which of course you can always go back and forth, but if I had to pick a show, it's probably going to be AEW. Almost solely for Orange Cassidy versus Jericho. I'm also really interested in FTR, Young Bucks versus Butcher Blade and Lucha Brothers. That's gonna be craziness. Having 8 of them in one match is gonna just be craziness. Paige and Omega put on good matches. Private Party has been on a tear of recent. Like you said, Joey Janela does a good job of getting his butt kicked, so maybe that'll be fun. I like seeing the Dark Order, I really do. So I don't know if any of these look like matches that, outside of Orange Cassidy, outside of the main 2, I don't know if the other matches look like must-see TV, but they are stuff that I'm going to be entertained by.
Yeah,
and same NXT, really, to be honest. Cole versus Lee is going to be good. Going to be excellent. Yim versus LeRae is going to be good at least. The 6-man tag, I'm not sure. I kind of like everybody that's in there, but I don't know if I'm completely sold on them yet. I'm not a huge fan of Isaiah Swerve Scott, but he has room to grow. Notoriously, I'm not a huge fan of Johnny Gargano either, even though I know he's a good worker and all that stuff. I just haven't been sold on him yet. So I think AEW is my call for tonight if I had to pick one. What do you think?
I'm going to AEW as well, but I think the best match of the night is probably going to be the the winner take all match, and then the big 8-man tag on AEW. But I think both shows look really, really good. You know what? I think we said it last week. If WWE is counter programming to AEW having a big big pay per view style show, if they're going to counter program, you know what? That's great wrestling for both for everyone to watch. We're all going to win, right? So that's kind of the way I see it.
Looks like Corey's wanting to watch NXT tonight. That's his pick, and I don't blame you at all. Like we both said, and you agree. The Cole versus Lee might be the match of the night. I just like I said, I'm a big Orange Cassidy fan. He's in the limelight. Hopefully, he's the main event tonight.
It should be.
I'm interested in that match.
So also, we never really talk about this. I think this is probably the first time bringing it up. The last 2 weeks, NXT has actually beaten AEW in the ratings.
I forgot about that. Yes, it's somewhat interesting. I mean, NXT's done a good job, but what I'd really like to see is NXT and AEW beating Raw and SmackDown in the ratings.
Oh, that'd be amazing. You know, and now, you know what the thing is, like last week, both shows combined for about 1.5 million viewers. Now, that's not to say that if AEW was on its own or if NXT was on its own on Wednesday night, that you would get 1.5 million viewers watching the show. But Raw this past Monday did I think they had like 1.65 or 68 million. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I do think that if they weren't battling each other, the numbers would be higher. The sad thing, though, is that in terms of advertisement, which is why they keep track of this stuff, whether you would have higher numbers doesn't matter. It's just the numbers that you do have sells the advertisement, and that's where they make their money is the advertisements. So, as far as Vince is concerned, I'm sure SmackDown and Raw is where it's at because they're getting more viewers.
And not only that, I think whenever it comes to the ratings of those shows, Vince might be seeing stuff, like record low ratings for Raw. But during this pandemic time, I think everyone kind of gets a pass on it.
Yeah,
which is
I would. I don't know if he cares because again, it's all about the Benjamins, but but in reality, it should. I mean, because he fired Paul Heyman from his creative spot because of the numbers, even though it's a pandemic.
Well, I don't even know if it was because of the numbers, because there's rumors out there that Vince fired him, but USA wasn't happy about it.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
So, which is very odd because Paul Heyman now compared to Paul Heyman 20 years ago, there's a great promo out there of Paul Heyman where he does the famous line. He's like, "You want to shoot? Then I'm gonna shoot." Where he cuts a shoot promo on TNN.
I just watched that not too long ago.
Yeah, where he pretty much just says, "Well, he's like, thanks for not advertising us at all. So F you guys." And then then TNN's like, why are we airing these guys? They just ripped us on live TV. So now, again, 20 years, it's a different Paul Heyman now than what we had back then. I'm sure he's not going to USA and, making these big threats. It's like, I dare you to kick us off the air. I doubt he's doing that. He's much smarter than that now. But yeah, from what it sounded like, USA was not happy with Paul Heyman getting ousted.
Okay, Corey wants some predictions, and I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to ask you a couple matches here. Tell me who you think is going to win. So we're going to start with Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Candice. I don't know why, but I'm going Candice just because.
I don't feel strong either way in this match. I think it's pretty 50-50. Just because you picked LeRae, I'm going to go with Yim just to make it a little more fun to root for. So then we're going to go to FTR and Young Bucks versus Butcher, Blade, and Lucha Bros. Who do you got?
I've got the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Bros. Lucha Bros are back as a tag team. They've been gone for a little bit. I think part of that was Phoenix's injury. The reason why I picked them as well is because I don't think the Young Bucks and FTR are going to get along. So them not being on the same page is going to cost them the match.
I would like to see Butcher Blade Lucha Bros win. I feel like FTR Young Bucks are going to win, and you might be right. You have a good storyline planned out there. I was just thinking that Butcher Blade have been losing matches. Lucha Bros, for as much prestige as they have, lose a lot of matches for some reason. FTR is new and have been on a winning streak and want to keep being promoted as these amazing tag teams. And Young Bucks like to win a lot too. Although I guess they started out not winning as much, but lately. So we're going to move on to Orange Cassidy versus Jericho. Who do you got?
I've got Jericho. I would love for Orange Cassidy to win, but I think him just being in the main event of the show and this match being promoted like it has been, I think that's going to be seen as the big win for Orange Cassidy. And Jericho still, I would love to see Jericho put him over, and Jericho is the guy to put over people. He does it a lot, but I'm going with Jericho winning it. But I would love to see Orange Cassidy pull off the win, though.
I kind of see Jericho winning also. I would also love to see Orange Cassidy win. They've talked about it before a lot that Orange Cassidy is amazing with a crowd, and unfortunately, there hasn't been a crowd for months. Uh, do they want to save his big win for when there's a crowd to just blow the roof off the place, or do they want to go now because he deserves it?
And not only that, we don't know when we're gonna be able to see a crowd anyway.
It's very true, especially because WWE is looking to do crowds as soon as possible, but AEW's taken a bit more of a conservative approach to it. So, man, it's hard to say. If coronavirus wasn't going on, I'd say now is the time to make it happen. And Jericho has been on the record as saying that he likes Orange Cassidy. He's been turned by Orange Cassidy, and he'd love to put him over at some point to make him a star. But like I said, the crowd's not there. So I think we're on the same page with Jericho winning that. And finally, we have Cole versus Lee. Who do you have?
I've got Keith Lee winning it. I think it's the right time. I think it's the right place. Especially since, again, we don't know when we're going to get crowds. We'd love to see the big crowning of Keith Lee in front of a, massive takeover crowd, 15,000 people. If they were going to do it in Boston for the SummerSlam weekend. But I mean, there's not much you can do about this. This whole pandemic thing has kind of been annoying just a little bit. But I'm still going with Keith Lee. You can't rely on the crowd coming back to be like, oh, we've got to wait for the crowd to come back to have a big moment, because we don't know when that's going to be. So I'm going with Lee.
And I also have Keith Lee for this match. Like you said, I think it's his time for sure. It'd be nice if there was a crowd there to just pop the roof off the arena there too. I feel like more so than Orange Cassidy, Lee is somebody who could be relied on to really carry himself, carry the company, carry the title, with or without that giant fan support live in the arena. I'd like to say Orange Cassidy could do that too, but that's not really his thing. His thing is to show up, get the giant cheers, and then go away.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I think Orange Cassidy's winning the AEW world title at some point in the future. Not in the near future, maybe within the next year and a half, 2 years or so, but I see him as a future champion. Not for very long, but I think he will win it.
Exactly. I don't see him I could see him winning it as a reward for his time and what he's put into it and how much the crowd likes him. Again, I can't see him carrying the show or the company or the title for too long, just because, I mean, his promos are very, very slow and not many words, if at all.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Orange Cassidy win the title. And then, you know how, everyone has their own way of carrying the belt. A lot of people carry the belt. They hold it over their shoulder and like, hey, I'm the champion. Some people wear the belts. The Rock used to, whenever he came out, he used to carry it by his hand, and then he would bring it up to hold up the title like that, stand on the apron. A lot of guys have done that. Undertaker wore it around his neck whenever he rode the motorcycle as the American Badass. With Orange Cassidy, whenever he does his championship entrance, he walks the ring and he's lazily walking to the ring like he normally does, and he just drags the title on the ground as he walks to the ring. He's just like, just like lazily just dragging it across the ground.
Yeah, that or something like it'd be sticking out of his pocket and then dragging it across the ground, or out of his back pocket or something.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be pretty good too.
They could do a lot of things with that, or like if they really wanted to have him be champion for a decent run, you'd put somebody like Jericho, for some reason storyline decides to be his manager or a mouthpiece. Keep him as a silent. Normally, you would say a silent menace, like Paul Heyman is with Brock Lesnar, but Orange Cassidy's not exactly a menace. So it's a bit of a different dynamic.
Yeah. All right, so that's what it looks like tonight. Tonight's gonna be a good night of wrestling. I feel like ordering some. Pizza, but I'm not sure if I'm going to or not.
Yeah, I guess you know what, we should start having a segment right before we go off here called "What Are You Eating Tonight?"
Yeah.
Is it a shakaroni?
No, I had that on Sunday and it was awesome.
I need it, but Kirsten doesn't like having extra cheese and pepperonis on her pizza. My wife Kirsten, so
yeah.
So I can't get the shakaroni unless I'm going to be the only one eating it. You know what? Too, I don't know if I've seen any Papa John's out here in Michigan. We've been getting, in fact, we did get today Cottage Inn pizza, which I know is not anywhere near St. Louis, but
interesting.
It's a pretty cool place up here. It's decently priced, very delicious. I know, was it Corey? Is Corey in Michigan? So, I think it is Corey was telling me. One of our viewers was saying they're in Michigan also.
Oh yeah, I think someone was.
In Lansing, which is where okay, Corey's in Ohio, so that's not that far away. In fact, I know there's some Cottage Inn in Ohio. But anyways, yeah, so it is pizza night for both of us, except I'd already had mine, but I had it really early, so I'm probably going to have some reheated pizza. It's also being Detroit, or near Detroit, is Little Caesars area. So Little Caesars is the other big pizza around here. Granted, it's still considered a low-class pizza, but I like me some cheap $5 hot and readies.
Yeah. All right.
Emos. We don't have any emos up here in Michigan. That's a St. Louis thing.
All right, so we're going to go find someone to raid, and we're going to raid another fellow bear. His name is Bergen. He's streaming some... Let's see. Hold on. I got to make sure I spell that right. Nope, I did not spell that right. That's second week in a row. Rusev isn't streaming, so we can't raid him tonight. But anyway, guys, go over to Bergen. He's playing some MLB The Show. Looks like he's playing some ranked seasons. Go show him some love. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Hopefully you guys have a good night.